Hello, my name is Keith Haswell. I'm a professional astrologer, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this video and to my teachings. This is the third video. The first one I spoke about your free horoscope and what I cover in your free horoscope. The second one was answering the question, is there a God? I've been studying these things for 38 years intensely, and I've mastered the science of astrology. What I want to talk with you on this video is about the field of play. Where do we experience our consciousness? And it's a very intricate subject, and I might be going into things a little bit too deeply for you, but look, you really haven't come here to my website to reiterate that which you already know. You've come here to my website in order to be able to learn something new and to take your next step forward in the evolution of your consciousness and the evolution of your understanding. Now, we're all in life. There's no debate about that. And we're all conscious. There's no debate about that. But there's many different levels of consciousness. First of all, there's the mineral kingdom, and I don't think that there'd be any argument with the statement that the mineral kingdom is less conscious than the plant kingdom, and neither would there be any argument in the statement that the plant kingdom is less conscious than the animal kingdom. And there's another statement there, of course, that the animal kingdom is not as conscious as the human kingdom. So there's different levels of consciousness. And what I want to speak to you about is the different levels of consciousness, the different levels of consciousness that make up our field of play. We've all lived dozens of lifetimes, but let's just look at this field of play that we're dealing with here. Now, I can put it to you this way so that it's understandable. You can appreciate that things that are physical are more dense than things that are liquid. Dense, you can't pass your hand through it. You can't pass your hand through the wall. Water, you can pass your hand through it. So it operates and functions at a higher rate of vibrational frequency. And of course, gaseous is so tenuous that you can't even see it. The air, you can't even see it, yet you can feel it against your face. So there's three levels of vibrational frequency, what you might say, that makes up three distinct subplanes of our physical plane. Now, interpenetrating all of these three levels, subplanes, are four subplanes of etheric energy. And the etheric energy is where the subatomic particles are, and the atoms, and light, and photons, and things like that. It used to be denied by science, but since quantum physics, they now understand that there's this energy field and that it's electrical in nature. And electricity all belongs in that area of things. So there you can understand the seven subplanes of the physical plane are dense, liquid, gaseous, and four levels of ether. The lowest level being the level of light and subatomic particles and so forth. But there's more refined levels of ether that interpenetrate everything. And then we've got even more subtle energy, more subtle states of consciousness in 7 subplanes of the emotional plane. And that's understandable, and I can explain it to you in this way, that gross emotions like anger and hate and fear belong on the lowest subplane. Well, you've got therefore 7 levels of emotions that are also graded vibrational frequencies. The grossest emotion is down there on the lowest level, and then you've got the higher emotions of aspiration and joy and wonder and hope and love. All of these things are on the higher levels of the emotional plane. And then you've got 4 levels of the mental plane, which is the plane of ideas and thought forms. And our gross thoughts are selfish thoughts belonging to the 7th subplane. And then you've got the 6th, 5th and 4th, and the 4th is the highest in terms of the personality. So our personality is made up of a body of manifestation in each of these different levels. We've got a mental body which is made up of the lower 4 subplanes of the mental plane. We've got an emotional body which is made up of the 7 subplanes of the emotional plane. And we've got an etheric body which is made up of the 4 ethers. And we've got a dense physical body. The cause of the dense physical body is the etheric energy. Now I've got a book here which is a book about Kirlian photography, and I'll just this is a book that I bought in 1975, and it allows, with this type of photography, for them to be able to photograph the etheric body or the electrical counterpart of our dense physical body. And there's the front page showing you what a hand looks like. And I've got some pages here that I just want to show you. There's a page of a finger on the electrical plate that they use to photograph. And these are different leaves of plants. Another 2 of leaves. And then they severed the end of the rat's tail, and you can see the difference between the etheric energy in the living part and the part that's been cut off. And probably the best one of all there of a finger, and you can see the electrical energy coming out from the finger, protruding beyond the physical finger. So there you can get an understanding and appreciation of the etheric counterpart of our physical body, and everything that's physical is created by the etheric counterpart of that. And so we've got then the 7 subplanes of the emotional plane, and we're conscious in that dimension. Whenever we close our eyes, we're immediately conscious in that emotional plane, and that's where we have our dreams. When we go into meditation, that's exactly where we are. And in the emotional plane, there's the concept of time and there's the concept of space, but you can imagine yourself anywhere very quickly. You can imagine yourself in New York, you can imagine yourself in London, and you're there at the speed of thought. And there's no time needed to travel there in your imagination. And this is what the science of meditation is all about. So you've got all of these different grades of emotions that we're dealing with. And then you've got the mental plane. So this is our task in life, is to gradually, through many, many lifetimes, refine the energy that makes up our etheric body, so that our etheric body, through right diet and exercise and right living, becomes more pure and raised in vibrational frequency, and our body is therefore healthier. And you've got an emotional body, and in our early lifetimes we're very, very gross and selfish and angry and lustful and so on and so forth. So we've got a lot of stress and tension there. But as we become more of who we really are, we refine those emotions so that we have feelings of love and altruism and all of those beautiful emotions of joy and wonder. And then you've got the mental plane, where we're all dealing with our thoughts. And they're of all different vibrational frequencies. Gross thoughts and selfish thoughts are the lowest level, the 7th subplane. And our highest is the 4th subplane. And this is where our personality is. Our personality is a triplicity of conscious mind, emotions, and etheric stroke physical body. So whenever we have a thought or a feeling, we're creating emotional thought forms and mental thought forms. And this is where we have our consciousness. This is our field of play. Now then, once we're born, our soul continues to build the body until maturity at 21, and then it works on the 2nd phase of maintenance of the body until our later years, and then it starts to gradually withdraw and our dense physical body starts to atrophy and age. So it's important to understand that we are existing in a field of play, a field of consciousness. And there's these different levels of vibrational frequency. And we have gross feelings and emotions, and we have refined feelings and emotions. The object of the exercise is to refine your emotions and refine your thoughts and refine your etheric body with right food, exercise, and diet, and plenty of fresh air and right living. Anyway, that's about all I wanted to explain to you about our field of play. I know it might go a little bit over your head and be a bit of a stretch if you haven't done any research in these things yourself, but this is our field of play, and this is where we live and move and have our being. And this is our space-time rule set, where we experience each of our lifetimes. And when we sleep, we're active in the dream state, in the emotional world. When we meditate, we're active in that emotional world. And the idea is to be able to master that mental body so that you have control of your thinking processes, to master that emotional body so that you have control over your emotions and you can direct the emotions to higher emotions and more altruistic emotions, and to be able to look after the physical body because that's the temple of the soul. So that's nice to have the opportunity anyway to be able to share with you this field of play where we're all conscious and where we're all living and moving and having our being, and where we're all becoming more of who we really are. And in the next video I'll cover our bodies of manifestation and all about how we work with these bodies of manifestation to grow and reach and stretch and to evolve our consciousness. So thank you for your attentiveness.